Watch me ride.
Hey everybody, hope you're all doing alright out there. So, stress. I'm currently dealing with a very stressful situation. And by the way, I'm not making a video here to complain about stress to you. I'm actually going to talk about the ways that I cope with stress and maybe it will help you. So I'm not looking to stress you out with this video, to be clear. But I am stressed because, you know, I'm a YouTuber anyway, and that is quite a stressful job, and I know like people like to think that it isn't. If you're massively successful, then maybe yes, it's not so stressful, but for people like me, it's very stressful, very, especially in recent times. Anyway, besides the point, that's small potatoes. My mother, what was that all about? Oh my, what the hell is this person doing? I'm going to just keep an eye on them. Where was I? Yeah, my old mum is back in the hospital. She has pneumonia again, which has also put pressure on her heart this time. So it's meant that she's had to go in for probably 2 weeks for treatment because she needs oxygen basically. We don't have any of that stuff at home for her. Might be in the future. She's okay, you know, she's responded well immediately to getting oxygen and getting the treatment, so it's just a case of sit and wait like happened 6 months ago. That is very stressful as is, trying to do your job and also having to, you know, look after your quite sick mum. Then, the other thing is, we're having to move her bedroom from an upstairs room to a downstairs room for her because she can't get up the stairs anymore. It's just too dangerous for her. So, I haven't been able to really even think about making videos, let alone making videos for about a week. Because I've been doing that decorating work, helping my brother getting it all done. We were getting it done between the two of us because, you know, it's the cheapest way of getting it done. And that means I don't get to work, which means that a job that's stressful, that gets stopped by something stressful, creates an even more stressy position. So I'm saying this for context to understand like the level of what I'm currently dealing with. Other people may be dealing with worse. I don't want to get some competition about this, man. I've also done jobs in the past that are very stressful, like being a chef and stuff like that, which can be very, very stressful. So I'm used to dealing with stressful situations, and I actually think being a chef is what taught me how to deal with stress. I didn't deal with it well before, but I very quickly learned that basically, like in a cooking shift, you're only going to get so much stuff that you can actually physically do. So when it gets busier and busier and busier and busier, the best thing you can do is not be too stressed about it, because you know there's limitations. You just can't get it all out at the same time. It's just not going to happen. So you stay calm. You're much, much more thoughtful, you're more concise in the way you do things, more organised, less mistakes get happened. You're a smoother running machine, and your team will work better if everyone just stays calm. And, you know, one of my old bosses used to turn a busy shift into one of the most stressful situations ever, just because of the way that he ran it. And it's just because of the way he commanded everything, the way that he didn't think of things ahead of time and stuff like that. He would turn something much more stressful. And when I was running the shifts, it always just seemed a lot less stressful, even though I tended to have the busier shifts. And I think that is evidence to prove the point, which is that stress isn't really a thing. It's a manifestation of your reaction to a thing. Sometimes it's perfectly due, sometimes it's a bit over the top, sometimes you build up stress, like a stress point where a tiny bit of that on that area of stress will cause an awful lot of pain. The same as pinching someone 100 times. Every time it gets more painful. So you have to separate in your mind stress from the reality and realise it's your reaction to it, and try and act in the best way you can in that scenario that will be better for you in the future than what you're currently doing. A good example of that is if you're mad at something, don't smash it if you need it later. You know, things like that. Once you make the realisation that you'll be better, at doing what you're trying to do if you're not stressing yourself out, you will still be stressed, but you won't be stressing yourself out over Julie. Not Julie the woman. Well, maybe. I mean, Julie might be causing you some stress. And you also do truly understand that stress is your reaction, not something that you're given. You think about stress differently. Now, it's not to say I don't get stressed, because obviously, as I've said, I've been very, very stressed this week. But I've used that stress. I've used it to, you know, get jobs done, to work through doing stuff, to not be at any moment really sat around not doing anything. Well, I'm not having a bloody chance to do that, and I don't anyway as a YouTuber, but right now, every moment is being used to do something. The big issue is that none of those moments have been making YouTube videos, which is bad. I'm trying to think when the last situation was. I think it was when my mum was sick again, about, you know, around Christmas time. Because I really couldn't make videos around that time, or sometime around there, basically I had it at a time in the past, because I couldn't upload videos very regularly for an amount of time. Even, you know, even though I spread them out, so it was like, well, it's the same amount of videos over a longer amount of time, I took this algorithmical hit from YouTube that I've never really recovered from. It's been an absolute nightmare. I just hope, like you always do as a YouTuber, that at some point they'll change the algorithm again, and it will happen to shine light on you that day, and maybe you can grow a few crops in your fields. Maybe you can eat a potato skin. Again, I'm not complaining because I love my job, but it can be very stressful. There's lots of things around it and my life that can be very, very stressful. I realised that if I was actually bad at dealing with stress, there was no way I could do what I've done. You know, I've worked consistently for the past 10 years. I haven't really taken any time off ever. I've made over 2,000 videos. I've worked hard, very long hours every single day. I survive on so little sleep. You can ask my Discord followers, because I'm up a lot. But that, again, is one of the byproducts you get from being very quick at doing stuff, because your brain's constantly going. You can't switch it off, and that's something about my sort of who I am that I've never been able to change. I just don't sleep because I'm too busy doing other stuff. And then when I'm not doing stuff, my brain's thinking about the next thing, because that makes me quicker for when I have to do that. The only thing I will say about this, though, is you can sometimes find that you are being, you have invisible stress, as I would refer to it. As you feel in yourself, you're like, no, I'm all right. But there is this kind of deep underlying tension, as it were, of the stressful situation, which is not burying your head in the sand. That's a bad idea with this scenario. But when you know you can't change anything, when you know you're doing the best you can, there's no point making that scenario even more stressful by stressing yourself out. You have to just accept and let yourself be calm about how you're dealing with the scenario. If you're doing nothing about it, then it makes sense you'd be stressed out about it because you're not seeing any change. But if you are seeing change to it, if you're actually, you know, even if it's slow progress and it seems like, you know, you're taking 1 step forward and 3 steps back, it eventually, well, not if you go 1 forward and 3 back every time, you eventually will, unless you take really big 1 steps and really tiny back steps, you get ahead. And once you get this as like a built-in strategy, and I learn't this through, I'm, again, not complaining, and I've talked about this since before it was trendy. I have problems with depression and anxiety quite badly. Every day is a big thing. But I've learned to basically train my own brain as to how to deal with those scenarios, to the point that if I was getting close to having a panic attack, I can almost think myself out of it. I have to remove myself from, you know, just get away from things for 5 minutes, but I can think and understand what the process is. Why am I feeling this way? Okay, analyse this, calm. And it works. And the people that don't think it works are the ones that are being hit by it pretty badly. And it'll only work for the people that accept that it works. So this is one of the things, you have to believe this works. This isn't like, well, I know it works for me, that's all I can say. And I know it's worked for friends and people that I've given advice to. So maybe it'll work for you. Here are quick tips for dealing with stress. If you're in a situation that you cannot change, there's no point stressing over those things. Only worry about the things you can change. Hold on to hope like you don't know what's what, because it is the thing that is going to help power you forward. As well as drive. These are good things to have. If you find yourself in a situation where you're just massively stressed out, but there's nothing you can do, you just stood there, then do something constructive. Don't sit and dwell. Never sit and dwell. Just be active. Try and do something now that you'll be pleased is done in the future, because otherwise what you're going to do is you're going to sit here and be mad about what you're mad about, and you're not going to get anything done, and then you'll be mad that you haven't got anything done. So it's better to use that energy to go and do something else. Focus on that. It'll take your mind off of it, and then afterwards you'll have a feeling of achievement because you've done something, and you'll actually be less stressed because you've got one less thing on your plate. Seriously important. Even if it is clearing out that old random drawer at like 4 o'clock in the morning. If that's what you need to do to keep your mind calm, then do that. I honestly think if you try in yourself to just be a kind, considerate person, if you try to think of others as you go around your day-to-day thing, I honestly think that if you try to be the best person you can be, if you try to be polite to people, if you try to be considerate towards others, it really helps you as a person. massively. And I'm not talking about like doing something for someone to make yourself feel better. I'm talking about just generally trying to be like that with people. Like when I go in shops, even if I'm stressed, I always smile, say hello, how are you? Like, be kind where you can be kind, and it has an effect on you that you don't feel as stressed. Now, it can be extremely stressful in today's world because so many people are so apocalyptically inconsiderate to everyone and anyone. So if you find yourself as an angry, embittered person because of some stressful thing, understand you don't need to be like that. You can change. And I think for some people, they're so used to being stressed and miserable about stuff, is they just can't work out how you don't be like that. Like, it becomes a personality to them. You just gotta let it all go. Those tips weren't very quick, I'm sorry, back to where I was. It's just that thing of separating out what stress is, what your scenario is, your reaction to it, and then being okay with your efforts to deal with that scenario. Even if it's maintaining it rather than resolving it, it's good, and you can enjoy your life. Well, at the moment, life's not very enjoyable, if I'm honest, but I can enjoy the moments, like when I get a few hours of Reno in the evening. I'm just so happy at that point, because that's just a moment of normality to just be calm and be calm. Well, there we go. I hope that helps. That literally is from the heart. Catch you next time.